Champions for Christ means training the younger generation to become the champions God created them to be. It's time to go higher and stronger with C4C.
And you've been challenged not just to be a doer of the word, but champions are outdoers. Hey, C4C Nation, this is Coach Brim, and we have a special guest today, and it's Eric Diggs. Eric, man, thanks for coming, dude. All the way from Nashville, Tennessee, and man, God is doing some great things in Eric and through Eric, and I just want the people to hear it and then share your heart. And so, first and foremost, because we have the Red Zone, and it's the Red Zone is a place where I was driving by it one day, and it's across from the football field, and the Lord said, I have need of that. And what happened was we started bringing young kids in, and all of a sudden we added a dance party with it, and then it started getting so big that it stopped parties in the town. And so because they couldn't host, everybody was going to the Red Zone. And then I hear about Eric, and I think you've been doing this for a while, but it's called the Cove or something. What's going on?
Yeah, so it's called the Cove. So as Chip said, I'm Eric Diggs. I'm the CEO of the Cove, and it's a Christian entertainment company, and we specialize in content creation, Christian music, and non-alcoholic live events geared towards young adults. And so what we became most notably known for was our monthly pop-up nightclub events that we were doing. And during that time, we were promoting events for 18 and up. So our target demographic is young adults, Gen Z and young millennials, so 18 to 30. We believe that that's the demographic that gets overlooked in the church and the community. So we wanted to create something that would reach them. And so the Lord put this unique idea on our hearts, and we didn't know how big it would get. But before we even did one event, we start with promoting via social media. Our social media page grew to 10,000 followers within 30 days without even doing an event. And so our first event sold out with a couple hundred people. And then a few months later, the Associated Press came down to do an article on what we was doing. And so it went all around the world, and then it was on Fox and Friends and Business Insider and all these other things. And so, you know, we've been doing this for almost, I think, 2 years. It's coming up pretty soon. And now I'm in an interesting position now where it's like, how do you take this momentum, take what you've been doing and scale it and do something bigger? But yeah, it's the partying that got people to come out, but at every event they encounter God. And I think one thing to understand about our events is we're strategic in what we do. So calling it a Christian nightclub is polarizing for a reason, because it attracts attention. And a lot of people, we've got criticism from Christians and non-Christians.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's like, who's right and who's wrong at that point, but it's really about the heart behind it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And it's really modern day evangelism, reaching the people where they are. And so you wonder why you're not reaching Gen Z young millennials, but then you put something out there that reaches Gen Z young millennials and you criticize it. And so we understand that. And so team of 7 people, we're all in our early to mid 20s. And so we are the generation that we're trying to reach, and we understand the pain points of our generation.
And I've heard through statistics, through ministers, that age group is where we lose a lot of them. You know, I mean, they're under supervision and they're going to youth classes, you know, or youth, young adults, or the youth pastor of your church. And then when they get out and they go to college, they kind of slip away. So it seems like you're hitting that age group.
It's because there never was a personalized faith. It was, my parents went to church, I grew up in this, I never made it my own. And then once you leave that bubble and you go out on your own, well, to be cool, to fit in, to have fun, all the options available to you are worldly.
Yeah.
And you know, nobody likes to be the only person to sit in their dorm room and when everybody else is going out on Friday night partying or Saturday night, whatever it is. And, you know, I was one of the few people that was that person, because I understood that it takes one person to make a difference. And so I played Division I football, and my boys would go out. I went to 3 parties in college, and I felt out of place at the first couple, and the last one was like some birthday parties. But I knew that wasn't the place for me. And so out of those pain points, you start to say, well, what can we create for people who are like me, who grew up in the church or in the faith, or who are people who are curious about experiencing Christianity, just are church hurt. That's a real thing as well. So can you create a neutral space for them to come and to still be able to encounter God? And what we do is done with excellence. It's culturally relevant, but it's still Christ-centered at the heart of everything. So when they come into the event, they're greeted. We have a community building segment where we facilitate it. And it's interesting that this type of event would not have happened without a COVID and things of that nature. So the environment for this to thrive, God has uniquely created it. And so now is an opportunity, a window for this, because people are heavily involved in social media and people are longing for community. People my age do not know how to have face-to-face conversations anymore, do not know how to connect with people anymore. They don't know how to do this stuff. So like we're creating this kind of in-person event where we reach people through social media and then we say, hey, we're meeting up here and this is where we're doing our event at. And so we have that community building and we facilitate it to where people meet each other and it's not weird. And they feel comfortable because we give them the prompts and the things to go off of to be able to have the conversation starters. Then people are saying, I met my best friend. Then we have our DJ segment where we play Christian music only. And then at the end, we end in the gospel presentation, group prayer, and worship. And that's where we've been seeing some amazing things happen from there. But it really starts with getting them in the door. And I see this as a bridge to the church. So we're not like replacing the church or in competition with the church. We're just a bridge. I believe that many young adults will step foot into this Christian nightclub before they will a church. But once they leave, they're going to encounter God and God is able to do the rest from there.
You know, you said a couple of things that I want to emphasize on. One of them was it's a hard thing because you said there's people who don't understand it, Christians who don't understand it and do it. And all through the Bible, you know, God always said, I go by the heart. When they didn't pick David and they picked the oldest brother and he gets that prophet out there and he says, no, I don't look as man looks, for man looks at this, the countenance and this, the height, but I go by the heart. So God goes by the heart. So if that's the case, who are we to say? Who are you to say if it's right or wrong? And I remember one time a minister, Cleveland, Tennessee, Norval Hayes told me that he preached a message and he said, poor fellow went to hell and the power of God knocked him out. And God said to him, who are you to say who goes to heaven and who goes to hell? Because he didn't know the prayers that were behind, and he didn't know any of that. So it's a very dangerous thing to judge like that. And it is by the heart. God looks at the heart. And the other thing is, I would like to say, from being around my mom and Brother Hagin even for years, Brother Hagin would say, well, if you keep your motive right, everything will be fine. And then I asked him one time, I said, well, what's the motive? And he said, in everything you do to the glory of God. Well, you can dance to the glory of God. You can have these things for the glory of God. And if your motive is to glorify God, because in all we do, in your conversation and your texting and your what, you can't gossip and murmur for the glory of God, but you can do these things for the glory of God. And I also think that he gives you the desires of your heart. Well, dancing's going to be in heaven. David danced. Why wouldn't we want to dance now?
Full of joy.
Full of joy. And so I think this is awesome. And it's right now in Nashville. And but I mean, something that you see that might be going.
Yeah, that's interesting. And that's one of the things I was praying because many people started reaching out to us and saying, hey, can you take this to our city? We'll love for you to pop up here and there. And you can do that. And after we started popping up and going viral, there were many other people who started doing similar type of Christian nightclub events. And we actually did do one pop-up event in Chicago last year to see how it would be received. And it was received pretty well. It's actually a powerful event. But the Lord has kind of given me a much bigger vision in the sense of creating something bigger for our generation to be a part of. And so that's why now when you hear me talk about it, it used to be called Christian Nightclub. I'm going to say it's a Christian entertainment company. And the Lord is positioning us to do a much larger scaled event to allow people to come. I mean, we've had people come from over 30 different states and 5 different countries to come to a nightclub event.
Wow.
So there's a hunger for this. There's a need. There's something in our generation. They're looking for spiritual experiences and encounters, and they're willing to travel for it. And so now it's like, okay, God, like, can we create something that's much bigger? And I've always seen myself as a bridge between generations because I'm able to come to talk with older people and to understand them and pull wisdom from them, but I'm able to articulate it in a culturally relevant way to the younger people, and they tend to gravitate and listen. Then I'm able to bridge the gap. And so we need you guys as mentors. Like, we can't do it without you. Like, we need that oversight. But we also need to be able to reach this other generation. So can somebody be a bridge to bring it together? And can we create an event that brings everything together? And so it's created around entertainment and fun, but it's centered around the gospel. And so that's kind of what we're positioning for. That's what I'm believing God for resources and stuff to do, because it's so much bigger than the nightclub. But could we have spreaded it? Yeah, we could have done multiple events, but to have the impact that the Lord is wanting to have, He wants something much bigger, much more centralized, and much more resources poured into that.
Thanks for tuning in today. If you're ever in the Collinsville, Oklahoma area, we'd love to invite you to join us at a glorious church fellowship, pastored by Chip and Candace Brim. Our heart is to train up champions in this generation, strong in faith, equipped for life, and ready to impact the world. We would love to meet you in person. Come be part of what God is doing at a glorious church fellowship.